So this is our next video in Java tutorial series, and in this video we are going to see how we can write a simple Java program. Okay, so we'll learn how we can start a Java programming and how we can simply write a program and different steps involved. So let's begin. So first of all, we will open BlueJ. So I have already made programs over here, and these are the two programs, room and room area. So where we are going to calculate room area based on the two parameters. But you must be wondering why I have taken these two names. So first what we'll see is what is inside this program, room. Now, after looking at this program, as you can see, in this program we have two classes. The one is called room, as you can see, class room, and we have another class over here with the name room area. Okay, so that is why I have saved these two files separately. Actually, this is the same program but saved with the two different name, room and room area, because we know that we need to save a file with the name of that class. But what if we have more than one class in our program? Like we have class room also, room area also, and we can have any number of classes. But in this case, we need to know that we need to save our file with the class where our main method is. As you can see here, public static void main string args is our main method, and this method is inside room area but not in room. So according to the rule, we need to save our file with the name of that class where our main method is, because we can have hundreds of classes but there will be only one main method in any particular class, and you have to save your file with the name same as that of that class name. But what if I have saved the name with the class where there is no main method, as in this case room? So we'll go one by one according to this program, but have a look at this. If we'll try to run this program, there is no such option for running a program, because we cannot call a main method here, and you know our program begin with the main method because our class room has no main method. Okay, whereas if I try to run the room area, I can see there's a main method, and this main method will start execution of our program that we have seen in our previous video. So that is why, please remember that we need to save a file with the name room area. Although we can save the room also, but it will not run. If it comes to the compilation, as you can see, I have opened class room over here, and this is room area. If I compile room, I can compile. The class has been compiled. But when I will try to run, there is no such option of running. But when I will open room area, have a look at this. Now I have opened room area. Now my room area class has been method. So if I will try to run this program, it is always allowed. So I hope that you must have understood that we need to save our file where our main method is. So in this case, we will save our file with the name room area but not room. Now just go through with this program. What we are actually doing here in this particular class room, I have two variable of type float, length and width, which will hold the length and width of a room. Now we have one more method here called getData, which will not return any value. That is why we have declared as void, and has two arguments or parameters, we call it basically, and these are formal parameters. Means it will accept, when it will be called, it will accept two arguments a and b in both of type float. All right, after passing the value to a and b, While calling, those a and b value will assign to length and width. The value a will assign to length and value b will assign to width. Alright. So in this particular classroom has actually how many variables and methods? It has two variables also called instance variable length and width, whereas instance method get data which will simply assign the value to length and width, all right, with the formal parameter a and b. But make sure that formal parameters type and the variables type should be the same, because if it will have value a and b will have value float, then they will assign its value to float. It cannot be other than float. Now this class we are closing here. Now moving to another class in the same program with the name room area. Now this room area class has this main method, and because of this main method only it will run or execute or will start its execution. We know that. And again we have one more variable over here called area, which is again of type float. And this area method will actually be holding the area computed by length and breadth or width. Now have a look at this. Room ob equals to new room. We are actually, what we are doing here, creating an object with the name ob of class room area. Now since we are in classroom area, but we need to call the method get data, and this get data method belongs to classroom. So actually this is our designing part, but this is our initial, or you can say implementation part. So we are in room area, but actually we need to call the method get data, and to call any member of a class or a method of a class, we need an object of the same class. So that is why to call get data method, we need to create an object of class room. So what we are doing here is creating an object with the name ob of class room. So this is, the syntax: class name, object name, can be any other name other than ob, whatever you wish to have, equals to new room, bracket open and close. This is constructor. So constructor is totally a different topic we will discuss in the coming videos. So by this we have created an object called ob. Now with the help of this ob object, using dot operator, we have called the method called get data, and in this get data method we will pass two argument a and b. So actually we have passed value 14 and 10 over here, alright, but remember that value should be of float type. That is why even if we are passing value 14 and 10, we will have to write point 0. Like, not, we cannot write 14 because 14 will be treated as integer. So that is why we have to write 14.0. Same with 10. It will not be 10 but 10.0. But you must be wondering what we are doing here. Actually, we know that by default any number which has fractional part is treated as double. But if we will not typecast it, this is actually we are doing, that is called typecasting. If we will not write or do this typecasting of this number 14, so imagine, then it will be treated as double. So if I will remove these, it will be treated as double. Imagine if I straight away written 14.0 and 10.0, so these 14 and 10 by default fractional number are double in nature, double type, data type double in nature. So then there will be an error, because 14 and 10 are double in nature, whereas this method get data is accepting float type of value. So it means these 14 and 10, which are by default double, need to convert it to float. Okay, so let's compile and see how it goes. It is showing an error, as you can see. Now let's check what is an error. Incompatible type, possibly loss conversion from double to float. That's what I was telling you. By default they are double in nature, but because look at the signature of this method, it needs float value a and b, and here the value is not float, but by default it is double. Okay, so that is why we need to do the typecasting. Typecasting also we'll cover in another video, but here in general we know that to typecast it we need to write that particular data type to which we want to convert in a bracket. So that is why I have typecasted 14 and 10, which was by default double, to float. Now it is correct because value needed is float, passing value is also float. And here these 14 and 10 are actually is being called during implementation. So these are called actual arguments or actual parameters. These are called actual parameters and these are called formal parameters. All right. So these are called formal parameters while definition and while calling these will be replaced with actual. Okay, and while calling the value of actual, because program execution start from here, so actually what happened, the value of actual goes to the formal. So we are assigning value 14 to A and 10 to B. Now this A and B are giving value to length and width, so finally length and width are getting value 14 and 10. I hope that you must be getting it. Now finally, after assigning the value to length and width through this actual parameter, then value of actual goes to the formal, then formal giving value to length and width. So they have got value 10 and the 14 and 10. Now finally, with the help of the object of the same class ob, we are calling this length method like ob.length. Same way we were calling ob.getData, because getData also belongs to room, and then length and width also belongs to room, whereas area belongs to room area. But what we are doing, with the help of the object ob of room class which we have just created, we are calling variable length ob.length multiplied by ob.width, because we know the area. How we can compute the area? By multiplying length with width. So this will actually be holding value 14.0 and this is 10.0. They will be multiplied and the result stored in area, and finally we are printing the value of area. So this is the message system.out.println is, println is a method to print anything on the console, and this message will be printed as it is, and plus this will print the value of the which is being held by the variable area, because just now we have computed the area by multiplying length and width and assign the value to area, so it will just print the value area. Now let's compile this room area, because we are in room area, and as you can see it has been compiled with no syntax error. Now we will run it. Right click, go to main method and then run. As you can see it is showing the result area as 140, because 14.0 multiplied by 10.0 will give you the area as 140. Okay, so I hope that with the help of this program you have come to know how we can have two different classes or more than two classes in our program, how can we use main method in our program, how can we create an object, how can we invoke any method with the help of an object of that class, how can we do the typecasting, and how can we simply do the calculation using those variable and print the result. So this is the simplest ever program, which is, you can say, it's a kind of framework which will provide you so that you can do many more program based on this, where you have more than one class in a program. So thank you very much.